ladies and gentlemen, it is always a pleasure having you for Viewpoint on DBS Television. Today, the entire program will be focused on holiday classes and recreational activities in relation to the press release signed by the Ministry of Secondary Education. And to discuss about this, we need somebody who is in that domain. I'm talking of Babbitt Roland. He is the bursar at Lady Bird English Secondary School, and he will be accompanied as usual by Mange Venashus. Good evening to you, Roland, and thank you very much for honoring our invitation.
Yeah, good evening, Vanessa, and thank you for inviting me here.
It's a pleasure having you, Mange Venashus. Good evening and welcome.
Good evening, Vanessa, and good evening to our viewers.
Viewpoint is a debate program divided into two parts. That is the question and answer, and later on we'll be coming to have the debate. For the meantime, let us take the first part. Question 1. Are holiday classes a necessity for the educational life of students and pupils? I begin with you, Roland. Yes or no?
Well, holiday classes, I would like to talk in the context of 2020-2021 academic year. It is a necessity.
It's a necessity, so yes.
Yes.
Mange Venashus?
Yes, Vanessa, it is.
Yes, it is. And our last question: will stopping holiday classes and promoting recreational activities actually curb COVID-19 pandemic? Roland?
Well, stopping holiday classes and promoting recreational activities out of an educational milieu will not curb COVID-19.
I take a no for that. Mange Venashus?
Yeah, a no.
No.
A no. Coming up next, let us take a debate. Once more, welcome back. But before we dive into the debate, I would like us to have the full details of the press release. I read it as thus. The Minister of Secondary Education informs the national educational community that in line with the measures announced by the government of the Republic as part of the fight against the spread of COVID-19 pandemic, it is strictly forbidden to organize holiday classes in government and private institutions throughout the national territory. Consequently, any school whose facilities are used to organize such classes will be sanctioned in accordance with the regulations in force. The Minister of Secondary Education would also like to point out that holiday is a period during which young people must devote themselves to recreational activities of an educational nature and to the learning of social and cultural values for better integration into the society. Signed, the Minister of Secondary Education on the 14th of October 2020. That said, it links us to our first question: are holiday classes a necessity for the educational life of students and pupils? Roland, you think that it is a necessity, talking within the context of the 2020-2021 academic year and within the era of the COVID-19 pandemic?
Yes, thank you, Vanessa, for giving me the chance to express my mind or my viewpoint concerning maybe the holiday classes for 2020 in preparation for 2020-2021 academic year. Just like the minister said, holiday classes are holidays are a period for recreation or for children to engage in recreational activities. Well, that I accept with the minister, because holiday is actually an extended period of leisure and recreation. But when we look at the context, 2020-2021 academic year, the 2019-2020 academic year ended in a fiasco because of the COVID-19 pandemic. We ended in March, abruptly, without preparing the children for an end of year. So now we are going to start another academic year. These children have been home for close to 5 months now. They have extended their period of holiday. That's 3 months. Okay, we think it wise that holiday classes will be very important for them to catch up some of the aspects they left out and to keep them away from societal ills. Take note that it is more than 3 months. It's more than 3 months already
that they have been home.
Yes, that have been home. So we think that this holiday class is very important for the pupils and students because they have extended their stay at home and they also need to learn new measures. I think if you give me more time, I'll elaborate on why we need these classes.
Why do we need them?
Okay, we need these classes because, okay, one, we ended the academic year because let me relate it to COVID-19. We ended the academic year because of the pandemic COVID-19. The children have been at home. Now we need to prepare for the next academic year with respect to the measures prescribed by the state. How to avoid the pandemic from spreading around.
The virus from spreading around.
Yes. Okay, now for us, like I'll take myself as an example. I'm of Ladybird English Secondary School and Primary School. We thought it wise that we should call our pupils and students for holiday classes so that we start preparing them. We start learning ourselves on how to social distance. We would like to use the holiday classes like a medium to see how practical the social distancing measures can be implemented. So we even call upon the minister to use this medium or classes like a test ground to see how the academic year is going to start. If you reason with me, this should be like a test ground to see how schools can properly start in October. If not, we have no other medium by which we can test the beginning of a new academic year.
The effectiveness of all the pupils and the students returning back to school.
Yes. So we see this as a platform for us to practice social distancing. If I can further elaborate, like my school, for example, we have started changing the form of our benches. For the secondary sections, we make sure that 2 persons per table. Everybody has a seat. Means that you don't touch your neighbor. Those are the measures we have started putting in place. So we think it wise that the ministry should reconsider the decision. They can use us as an example to know whether schools will effectively resume safely for the next academic year.
Okay. All right. Thank you very much for your viewpoint, Babit Roland. Mangavena should you think that holiday classes are a necessity at this particular moment, and like he said in his viewpoint, it should be like a test ground to see how or to prepare the students and the pupils to adapt to the measures of the barrier measures of the coronavirus.
Yes, Vanessa, just looking at the minister's communique from the beginning, the minister is making allusion of the fact that we are using holiday, that they want to prohibit holiday classes to curb the spread of the virus. And we are talking of recreational facilities. That's in the second part of her communique. I think these recreational facilities or recreational activities will still bring together students and pupils. They will still meet, and I think that the spreading of the virus would not be prohibited or would not be prevented at that level. But then we are talking about holiday classes here, and we know that like Mr. Babit was saying, students have been at home. Students, because we are talking about secondary education, they have been at home for 5 months because they would be going back in October. Having spent 6 months at home, for those who are not in examination classes, it is practically enough time for some students to go dormant. And this period would have been an opportunity to awaken them, to remind them that they are coming back to the normal educational bookwork setting. Because if we leave them like that and they just find out, you don't bring them to school in September, Vanessa, October, I bet you we may be going in for another 2 months to reawaken these students, to let them know that actually they are already back in school. Besides that, he spoke about the academic year, the last academic year that ended the way it ended. And this would have been a period for catch-up lessons. We cannot pretend that all the teachers would have finished their programs before the interruption came in March. That was in March.
Yes, that's true.
We cannot pretend that all the teachers had finished their programs. And we are sending these students to superior classes. how would they cope with the workload? We take, for example, those who are already in the, within the range of examination program, like those from Form 3, Form 4, Form 5. We know with the English subsystem of education, the GCE program begins from Form 3. And what you study in Form 3 is a build-up to your examination, to your O-levels. So it's a continuous program. Those who did not finish their program in Form 3 or in Form 4, this is the opportunity for them to handle it so that in Form 5 or in Form 4, they would follow the normal scheduling. But then, when we stop them during this period, Vanessa, it has an impact on the students' life because they would be faced with much work next academic year, everything being equal. And given that the academic year, upcoming academic year, has been slashed by 1 month. Remember, we used to reopen in September. We are now reopening in October, which means 1 month has been taken off. And if everything being the same, it means they will have 8 months of academic year than 9 that they used to have. Which means the workload, again, will need to be, we need to handle it again with tact. Some schools would have been going into the workload for October now, using it during this period. So that once they start coming back in October, it would have been normal for these students. But then, the minister's position on stopping holiday classes. Vanessa, I want to ask
stop
again.
The spread of COVID-19.
Is COVID-19 is it only within the secondary section, or what about primary schools? What about universities? They are going to school. And the minister coming up, I think it would have been a joint communique by the ministers in charge of education to talk about this. One would understand that. But then another question is, when we stop them and then we come back in October, I hope that by then coronavirus would have ended.
Right, so some of these schools that have started already these holiday classes, how can they go about it?
From what the minister is saying, and if you look at it, the communique has another aspect like threatening the schools.
No, because it has a clause, obviously, that failure to respect...
They would be sanctioned according to laws in force. Schools that are using their facilities. Yes. I think it is a call for those schools that had started to stop automatically.
So would they refund back parents' money?
That's where I was going to. Because for most of these holiday classes, of course, Vanessa, we should not pretend they are not free. Parents chipped in something for the teachers who are this extra time, this resting time for the teachers. So parents chipped in something for the teachers who are who are drilling their children. And many parents, I spoke with some of the parents, they were of the opinion, because, let us accept the fact that we parents, at times, we transfer our parental responsibility to teachers. And coronavirus made it this time that we felt the weight teachers have been going through for all this while. And parents were like, let this school resume faster so that you take your children. So we are looking for ways to send them back to the teachers. That's why they are engaged into such activities. And we're asking them to stop now. It will bring about social friction between teachers and the students, and the schools. Asking the schools to refund the money will be another problem.
Maybe I should direct that question to Roland. Roland, how are some of these schools reacted to this? Probably like Lady Bird maybe started already their holiday classes.
Yes, immediately I got the minister's communique. I got it online through Facebook. Well, I tried to verify. I called the other colleagues, the principal, the dean of studies, and the rest, for also verify the authenticity of the information. Personally, I watched CRTV on the news bar. I read it that the minister has prohibited holiday classes. So, with that effect, we came on Monday, rallied the students and the pupils. We talked to them. That is rather unfortunate that the minister has asked us to stop or suspend the holiday classes.
So would the school refund back the money parents have chipped in?
Yeah, in my case, for example, we had just gone 1 week. Right. We had just 1 week of classes. So it does not up to we have not covered 80% of our work or our scheme for the holiday classes. So we talked to the children to inform their parents. We took their contacts, hoping that the minister will change her mind with the decision. We think that the minister will change her mind, will see the importance, or will reason with us to change the decision. So we gave them up to a week. If the minister doesn't react, we are going to call each and every parent to refund their money.
All right.
But
thank you.
Just to add,
All right.
the parents are really for these classes. The parents are calling daily for us to look for a way to help their children.
All right, so maybe probably parents are accepting the fact that their children should be granted holiday classes. Let us still remain in line with that press release. In the second question, will stopping holiday classes and promoting recreational activities actually curb COVID-19 pandemic? Roland, you think that no, it's not going to curb the pandemic? That comes in the second part of the press release from the minister. But the question I would like to ask you, is it logical? If you stop students from or pupils from going for holiday classes and at the same time you permit them or you ask them to indulge into activities that will see group them together, be it cultural, be it social, or something that they could find leisure, budding learning in it, is it logical?
Well,
they will still come together probably.
Yes. Personally, I think stopping holiday classes and promoting recreational activities at home out of the educational milieu will not curb the spread of COVID-19. Reason being that we of the educational milieu, I think we are better placed in controlling these children. Out of school, if they are not at home, there is no referee. There is nobody to guide them. But we are ready to guide them, even in their recreational activities. I will say our school, for example, our holiday classes is not just 100% pedagogic. We have recreation, we have dance, we have art. Before a child leaves from holiday class, the child must acquire a skill, be it cookery, be it for the arts domain, drawing, dancing, sewing. We have all of these skills integrated in our holiday classes. So maybe the minister should maybe look into our scheme and should bear with us that maybe the children are better placed in our school, because we have all of those recreational activities for them. Tradition is there. You must learn how to dance a traditional dance. You must know how to speak in your dialect. At least good morning, good afternoon, good evening, to be able to validate our holiday classes course. So we are better prepared to test the children or to guide them during the holiday than keeping them out in the open where they are prone to many other things. Because who they mingle with, we don't know who they mingle with. But we are ready. Like in an educational establishment, the minister can send her test team. They come and they test people for coronavirus. So we know that we are free, coronavirus free. So it shows that the children who intermingle are all coronavirus free.
Rather than sending them to recreational activities?
Yes.
Maybe they could learn computing.
Yes, we have all of those facilities in place.
Anyway, but how many schools do have it in Cameroon? You're talking in relation to one specificity. But then we remain with you. Mange Venantius. In line with this, how do you appreciate it? Because you think that it's not going to help stem the spread of COVID-19.
Actually, Vanessa, COVID-19 does not only spread among pupils and students. It is a pandemic that has no barrier, spread among parents. In fact, every society, every member of the society. And when we only stop holiday classes, what happens to drinking sports? What happened to off licenses? What happened to our markets, where you have people there on a daily basis? You cannot compare the number of
students.
You
even meet these students in the market?
Of course, because we are making as if the students are in an isolated kind of environment where they are only in school, and if they are not in school, they are isolated. The very students who are not going to school are the very students who are in the market. They are very students who are playing football in quarters. They are intermingling. They are not locked up. So when we talk of spreading, it is as if coronavirus has a particular locality in which it is being propagated. No. When we go to the market, we don't know who is there, from where he is coming. But we have these particular students, they have been here, you meet them on a daily basis, they are well controlled, like Mr. Roland was saying. Go to our drinking spots. When the government decided to relax the barrier measures, or to relax the barrier measures actually, yeah, they prescribed the wearing of face mask. wearing of face mask in Cameroon. Only this week that we are talking about face mask again, because the Prime Minister insisted on it, and there were talks that the police and the gendarmes have been tasked to enforce the wearing of face masks. But besides that, it was already becoming something like Cameroon officially or unofficially, concluded that coronavirus does not exist. And when you even look at the statistics, we are talking of over 16,000 Cameroonians who have been healed from corona, or who have recovered from coronavirus, and only about a few cases, because we are around 18.
Yeah,
18,000
just
cases.
as the minister said,
Yes.
on the 15th of August, the latest statistics I got, we have 18,118 confirmed cases.
Okay.
Then 16,540 healed, 400 deaths recorded. Then we have a recovery rate of 91.2%.
Actually,
From these statistics, this is what gave us the impetus. This is what gave us the hope that we could bring children together, teach them how to socially distance themselves, and prepare for the next academic year. Take note, we are not just trying to organize classes just for profit making or to maybe to keep teachers busy, but we also have an academic year to plan. We need to see how we can start the academic year. We don't know how we're going to start, because the way the year ended without us educating our children on COVID-19 measures. They have gotten information from the media, from the quarters. Now you all know that children believe in their teachers. When whatever the teachers tell them, they respect to the latter. So we thought it wise that holiday classes, we are going to coin the idea into them to make them understand that COVID-19 is real. You must apply the measures, and based on the number of intake that we have, we are going to see how we can expand or we can schedule our classes. It is not in October that we are going to see how we can add more classrooms. From now, we need to work. So with the holiday classes, we thought that we will actually experiment our own the measures that the government has prescribed, so that we can start a 2020-2021 academic year COVID-free.
COVID-free.
okay, Vanessa, I was asking a question before Mr. Mbapit came in. I was asking a question whether coronavirus is a pandemic within the secondary education only, because they should have said education in Cameroon. When it is only the Ministry of Secondary Education, fighting against the spread of the pandemic, whereas her counterpart of the basic education or higher education is doing nothing, or are doing nothing.
Are silent.
Are silent, actually. Yeah, they may be working, but they are silent. We tend to, the weight of what she's saying is not being felt, or is not being considered, because we are like everybody is operating in his own or her own domain. Yes, forgetting a general good. I think that it should have been something that we say that no, let us stop all. Then you may convince other people. It's just like the situation we had. It's just like the situation we had asking churches and schools to close down and opening of licenses. You discourage Cameroonians to believe in the existence of this virus. You discourage Cameroonians to believe that the virus actually is in Cameroon. But then, when it is only one ministry talking about the spreading of the virus, while the other ministry allows it, he's not saying anything. People are going in primary school. Those in the secondary school would either consider it as being punitive, they act being punitive, or the act is not serious. And by so doing, prohibiting holiday classes, it won't stop the spread of the virus, because we are not prohibiting holiday classes and isolating the students. No, we prohibit and they go back to their very quarters. We don't know with whom they met in the quarters. Coronavirus
is everywhere.
It is a community virus. It's spread as well in our communities.
That's true.
Yeah, so it is not only in schools that they go there to take. It's not like you go to school building and you collect it from there. No. So I think that once
even the pupils or the students, their parents can bring them back home.
Correct, because in as much as the children don't go to school, but the parents go to the market, they will bring the virus from the market and contaminate the child in the house. So we should not only say base as I think that the minister should have also, another communique should also come out from the ministry, prohibiting markets, prohibiting churches, prohibiting social gathering.
Okay,
because when
just,
it comes to
social...
All right, no, let him conclude with his
because
points,
when we come to social gathering, they tell us less than 50, as if coronavirus only spreads from 51 upward, as if we will not spread. So I think that we should be serious in handling this crisis. It is the way we handle the crisis that makes Cameroonians feel skeptical about the virus itself, feel whether this virus actually exist in Cameroon.
All right, thank you very much. You're on your point.
Okay, for me, I applaud the minister's communique. If you look at communique, it's not bad. We are trying to curb the spread of COVID-19. The first part of our communique. The second part, she reiterates or to lectures the parents to understand that holiday is a period of recreation and leisure. If you go by the dictionary definition, that's what holiday is. Recreation, leisure. Okay, but we don't refuse. But we think that when we categorize students, we have slow learners and we have fast learners. Normally, during this period of holiday, this is when the slow learners take to catch up. And in an academic year, they can match with the fast learners. It plays positively for them. So in a global scale, when we want to look at it, we think for us, like in the educational milieu, we think holiday class is important for our slow learners, first of all, for our slow learners. Then, secondly, to keep our children from societal ills. Like this, for this case, they have already spent 3 months at home. Extra months are adding. They can be prone to societal ills. So we prefer that they are in our milieu, where we see them, where we control them, where we can control their attitudes. Besides, we have also provided recreational activities for them.
All right, you already said that during the program. So, Lady Bertha's English Secondary School, what are the measures that your school have put in place to curb the spread of the coronavirus?
Okay, just for
preparation to school resumption.
Yeah, just for the holiday classes, for
no,
example.
in preparation to school resumption, because a mass is expected during that period.
Yes, that's the requirement. Then we have also, okay, just like I said, we're
what
using.
has the school put in place?
Okay, no, we have hand sanitizers already. We have bought hand sanitizers. We have bought a surgical mask.
That will be distributed to all the students?
Yes.
Okay.
And we are also recommending the parents to provide them. Like our uniforms, if you see, we already have like what they call to match the face mask, to match our uniform, the colors of our uniforms.
All right.
And we already have the thermometer, the infrared thermometer for temperature, to control the temperature.
All right.
And we're also waiting on the government. Maybe the government will also send us maybe a nurse or a doctor to follow up our students
for regular check.
Yes, to ensure
or maybe
that
why not sanitize the school, spray the school,
exactly,
disinfect the school. Thank you very much, Babit Roland. Thank you for your viewpoint. Thank you for explaining what most teachers, most people in the educational milieu do think about this press release.
Okay, thank you very much.
Magavin, I should hope to have you again tomorrow.
We'll be there, Vanessa.
We will be there, and of course our televiewers, we hope to be there tomorrow. Hope that you got certain aspects concerning holiday classes and recreational activities. Stay tuned to DBS television programs. Continue tomorrow. We'll be back, God willing. Stay tuned.